It's gardening season, but if it's been a while since you've moved out from under that warm winter blanket, you might want to prepare your body so it won't get injured in the garden. And to get our bodies moving and ready to rake, plant, and more is Lydia Irons, a registered massage therapist from the Flexible Farmer. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
So the first thing you tell people is when you're outside raking, getting all that winter stuff out of the way, you want to switch sides.
Absolutely. It's usually the first thing.
And you brought a rake?
I did. It's usually the first thing you have to do is you have to get all the mulch out of the way or the leaves or the debris from the snowstorms. So you want to make sure you switch sides, because what I see a lot in my massage practice is repetitive stress injuries. That happens a lot for the wrist and a lot for the shoulders. So you start on one side, pulling the mulch away from the garden. It's really easy to just keep going in one direction, but then you're asking just one set of muscles to do all the work. So you want to switch sides. You'll have to step over your bed to do that and face the other direction. And by switching sides, you ask a whole separate set of muscles to do the work so you don't strain or stress just one joint.
Does it affect your body if one side is stronger than the other?
It absolutely does, and switching sides when you're raking is a great way to get the other side a little bit stronger.
Great, and then the second tip you have for us is to kneel carefully.
Oh my gosh, I can't stress this one enough. People are so excited to get out and get their hands in the dirt that they just kind of fly onto their knees. So the biggest thing for kneeling is getting down nice and slow, and it's all about keeping the blood moving through the muscles and keeping fluid in the joints so nothing gets too stagnant. So you want to get down nice and slow.
I'll do it with you.
Okay, great. So you get down nice and slow. This is usually a really comfortable position for people to kneel. They're really used to being here. So you start here, you work for a little while, and then you come up into what I call the proposal. So you're lunging.
That makes sense.
So you're lunging on one side. It's a great stretch for your quad. And then you can come up by using your leg, come up nice and slow, and then you're in a forward bend. This is a great stretch for the back of the legs and for the low back. And then you come down and do the proposal on the other side. Stretch the other quad, and then you're back to kneeling. And by cycling those postures, keep the blood flowing, and all of the fluid in your joints really helps to avoid getting too much stress in the knee.
It's totally true. When I garden, which is rarely, but I get really tired and I can feel it in my knees.
A good way to avoid that is if you're kneeling here and your feet are out flat, it means that the patella, your kneecap isn't protected. So if you just tuck your toes underneath you when you kneel, you keep these muscles engaged and it protects the patella.
Oh, well, I learned something new. And the third thing you say is to take it easy. What does that mean?
So a lot of people, like you said, it's been a long winter and people have been really cozy in their house and, doing winter hibernating. And so you get back in the garden, you think of all of the things you could do at the end of last summer, all of the lifting and the bending and the stretching, and you try to get back into it. But it's like any other physical activity. You have to build up your stamina slowly. Start with just an hour in the garden, and don't think you can lift 2 bags of compost at once. Start with just one. So, little ways to ease into what you're doing.
And what about, you've started gardening. Do you still have to stretch and do these tips throughout the gardening season?
It's always good to take care of your body, but as things like with the kneeling, it's always good to switch up how you're doing a posture. It's always good to switch up which side you're raking from. But as it gets warmer and you get a little bit more strength, you can ease into what you're doing. You can do it a little faster. But yeah, I would say always stretch, always prepare before you go out for the day. It just makes the work that much easier and you avoid injuries.
Well, wonderful. Thank you for being with us and helping get our bodies back and ready to garden.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. For more information, you can visit mymassappeal.com later today.